So yesterday, the Lakers took a tough L to the Los Angeles Clippers, falling to 0-11 against the Clippers over the last several seasons, and on top of that, losing the potential to get the fifth seed. It is still theoretically possible, but it is extremely unlikely at this point. And it sucks and it hurts, and a lot of people are down, a lot of people are disappointed, but there's still so much positivity and so many things to take away from this Lakers in the stretch. I mean, even just the Clippers game in general. Played 5 games in 8 nights, coming off of back-to-back in overtime, and guys were tired. And yet we still were able and felt like on numerous occasions had a real chance to get back in that game and potentially even win that game. The Clippers, they were fresh. They had legs. They were able to do what they were able to do, but they were never really able to fully put the Lakers away. I think if this was a neutral ground scenario where they got the same amount of rest, I really do think the Lakers would have pulled this game out. So that is definitely a positive takeaway. On top of that, this team has been the best Western Conference team since the deadline. We've had a top defense, top offense. The stars are just, really starting to align for this team. We're building chemistry. We're doing and headed in a positive direction, which is an insane turnaround from even just a couple months ago. Even like 3 weeks ago, we were still the 13th seed. And now we have the play-in already locked up. We can't do worse than the play-in. We very likely are going to bare minimum get the 7th seed, and we still have a realistic chance at the 6th seed. So not all hope is lost, and we are just, again, very positive, and it's just good vibes, and that's what it needs to be. I mean, again, look at the roster we have now compared to 2 months, 3 months ago. It is night and day. We had a team that just didn't really work. Bunch of small 6'1" guards, was an absolute mess. Anthony Davis and LeBron James couldn't stay on the court together. It was a disaster, right? We couldn't win games. We were losing in just the worst ways possible. And since then, we've really turned things around. And we've gone on incredible streaks. We're like, 23-7 or something like that over our last 30 games? That is just, you want to talk about a turnaround for a team that started 2-10 on the season, and look like, here we go again, another lost season, another opportunity to miss the play-in, and an absolute disaster to, we could really go on a championship run here. And I'm not saying we're going to win the championship, but the Lakers have a really good shot. The Lakers have a really good team that is only going to improve and only going to get better as things go on and as we move forward. Has the championship level defense, the offense, the superstars. We're still arguably the only team in the league with the 2 top 10 guys in the league. We have the depth, we have the talent, we have the supporting cast, we have the defensive wings, we have the shooting, we have everything and the formula to go and win an NBA championship. When you look at this team stacked, front to back compared to the 2020 team, this team is far better as far as talent-wise goes and depth-wise. Now, the 2020 team, there were a lot of factors that went into it. You had a much healthier LeBron, much healthier AD. That team's chemistry was absolutely insane, but that doesn't mean we can't get there. And talent does trump a lot of things. And once we're in, you expect a heavier dose of LeBron. Playoff LeBron could very well still be a thing. I mean, he hasn't missed a step in the regular season. Why would we imagine that he's going to have some drastic drop off in the playoffs? So playoff LeBron is a massive thing. We know from people that have relayed this information, and even LeBron himself, that he doesn't take the regular season as serious as he does the playoffs. He kind of coasts throughout the regular season, so that way he is able to just explode in the playoffs. And I do believe that LeBron still has at least, a run or two in him to really just dominate. And I said this months ago, that I believe if the Lakers make the Western Conference Finals, I believe the Lakers will win the championship. Because I believe LeBron James will look at that and go, this might be my last chance, and I need to win 8 games. Right? Now, of course, other factors are into play. You need a healthy roster, stuff like that. So, if AD and D'Lo and everybody's hurt, knock on wood, and it's just like LeBron James and that's it, then the statement isn't true. But if everybody is good, I think we see a superhuman LeBron at least one last time, because he knows that it very well could be his last opportunity. But even then, right? let's say we play Memphis in the first round and we lose to Memphis. The future is so bright with this team. Seriously, we're going to be able to keep essentially everybody. And now we're going to have a full offseason, a full training camp, a full preseason to go and ramp up again for another run. And I still like our chances even next year. Now, some of these teams like the Phoenix Suns, the Dallas Mavericks may improve slightly. Phoenix, they might get some pieces to, on the defensive side to kind of match up better, get some more depth and things like that. Still doesn't mean they're not unbeatable. Like, people act like Phoenix with Kevin Durant is unbeatable. They're not. Dude, Kevin Durant was just on a deeper, better defensive team with the Brooklyn Nets and had Kyrie Irving and got swept. Like, Kevin Durant is an incredible player, but people are acting like Kevin Durant is prime Jordan getting ready to win his, third ring. Like, he's a great player. Don't get me wrong. He is a nightmare mismatch. But the Phoenix Suns aren't unbeatable, and they very likely aren't going to be unbeatable next year. People said the same stuff about the Nets every single year, and we saw how that goes. We've seen countless super teams built and have zero success, right? It happens a lot. There are so many factors that go into winning a championship. Health is a big one, and who knows if Phoenix can even stay healthy, right? So my point is that all hope isn't lost this year, even if things go bad. But to take into account all of the circumstances that have happened this year and to see where we're at now and that we have a realistic opportunity to get the 6th seed and avoid the play-in altogether is just mind-blowing. Not to mention, we actually, if we get in and we play Sacramento in the first round, that's a favorable matchup that we probably win and get into the second round. And then who knows? You never know what could end up. We could end up playing Memphis in the second round, which I think we could beat Memphis. All of a sudden, we're in the Western Conference Finals. Who knows? There's still a lot of road ahead of us. And people, you see a lot of comments. And you see people like that are just, down or just like, I don't know if this team, this team has shown that they have it all season long since the trade deadline, right? And I mean, even the team before that had some moments where it was like, oh man, and that team was at a much more disadvantage. You have guys like Austin Reeves who have emerged into a real stud, right? I'm not saying he's a superstar. I'm not saying, he's, Michael Jordan. No, but he's turned into a real player, a real key piece, arguably our third or fourth best player on this team. He has been remarkable and one of our most consistent guys too, right? So that is a positive. That is something great to take away. That we got a young guy that we could have as a future Laker forever who is emerging into a really quality, really solid blue chip style role player and rotation guy. That is something to be. There are so many positive takeaways this season. A team that can win without LeBron. A team that can win without AD. A team that can win at times without either. That is just remarkable. That is such a positive, such a great moment to be in. This team really feels like they have the makeup to be special. This team seems like they really care about each other. They really are building that chemistry, really playing for each other, because that's key, playing for each other. You see LeBron sitting there and you hear all the players doing, the the whole goat noises and stuff, and just it was a beautiful moment. Yeah, it's silly. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, it's like, come on. But it's a beautiful thing because that shows the respect that they have for LeBron, the respect that they have for this team, the respect that they have for what the goal is. You see this team, let's get greedy. Let's do this. Let's do that, right? This is a team that really feels like they can. This really feels like a team that, hey, it was a tough loss, but on to the next one. Let's go beat the Suns. Let's go beat the Jazz. Now we're 9-2 in our last 11 games, where there were talks like, can this team go, 8-3, to get maybe to 500? Can they do that? Can they go 7-4? What is gonna happen? And this team has exceeded expectations already. This team has been great. This team has been good. Bad games happen. Especially tired legs towards the end of the season and just a tough scheduling scenario. And now we still have a game against the Phoenix Suns. And then that's 3 games in 4 nights. And then, 2 days later, you got another game against the Utah Jazz. And we win those games. You let the chips fall where they may. And if you get into the play-in, you win the play-in. It's that simple. Very likely, if you win these last 2 games, at worst, you're probably the 7th seed. And you're probably going to win that first round. And at worst, you have 2 games at home that you have an opportunity to do so. The Lakers won't have to leave Los Angeles until the playoffs, right? Because, again, very likely they're going to have their 2 home games in the play-in at worst. And so they'll have these 2 games, and they just played the Clippers, right? So they had those days, and all that. That's huge for just your body and rest and all that stuff, because you get to sleep in your bed. You get to, do your type of training and eat your proper food and have your people around you and all that stuff and your family. And it's a great thing. We've made a real run, a real push. You're going to get into the play-in or hopefully the playoffs, which if that happens, then great. Because if we get the 6th seed and we land the 6th seed, oh boy. I mean, you're talking we would get a week's worth of rest, a week's worth of preparation and preparing for that Sacramento team, which Sacramento, don't get me wrong, they've been solid all year. I said Sacramento would be in this position before the season even began. Everything that I said about Sacramento has been spot on to a T. I have the videos to prove it. Go over to As It Stands Sports, my original channel. Go look up my Kings videos. Look up the first one from like 8 or 9 months ago. I said that team was going to be very talented, very young, that they were going to break their playoff drought. They weren't going to be very good defensively, but they were going to be a high-powered offense. And they were all those things. I really believe the Lakers can run through Sacramento. I think that they're going to be tough, especially in Sacramento, given the last time we, had a playoff series there. But it's still a very winnable matchup. We match up great against them. We have the better defense. We have the better stars. You have everything you need. We have just as good, if not better, depth. Yeah, we have the defensive wings. We have multiple bodies that we could throw at, De'Aaron Fox. They're inexperienced. We're experienced. I mean, even our young guys, like even Jared Vanderbilt, Malik Beasley, like guys, they've actually had playoff games. They've had play-in games, right? D'Lo has led a team to the playoffs. Like, you have guys that have experience. And then you have LeBron James, who has more experience than everybody in the league combined. Like, the guy, I mean, you want to talk about experience, you got the Mr. Playoffs as the experience. Like, it's just such a great position to be in. And there's just so much to be positive for, so much to be excited for the remainder of this season. And whenever it's over, it's over. Whether it's in the first round, whether it's in the play-in, whether it's in the NBA championship. Whenever this season and this road ends, hey, great job, great turnaround. Let's get to the next one. Let's go, put the pieces, let's keep the pieces to the puzzle, get a full season off our belt. If you can make a little adjustment here and there, sure, why not? Like if you could upgrade the roster, why not? If somebody becomes available and it makes sense, then sure. And I'm not talking necessarily about Kyrie or anything like that. I'm talking about like even let's say you could do Buddy Hield and Miles Turner for Beasley, Mo Bamba, and both first. Like, that's something that could make sense, right? That's something that makes a lot of sense. Like, you're upgrading Mo Bamba, you're upgrading, Beasley. Why not? Sure. Something like that. I'm not even just saying that they will or that should or anything. I'm just using it as an example. But my point is the core guys, the main guys that you have, your Rui, your Reeves, your AD, LeBron, your D'Lo, your, all of these guys. If you can keep them for the long haul, then beautiful. Now you got your core intact. The core is young enough. Even if you do keep Beasley, even if you don't make any changes and upgrades, right? Beasley's 26, D'Lo's 26, Rui just turned 25, Vanderbilt just turned 24. Mo Bamba's 25. Got all these young, Austin Reeves is what, 24, 23, something like that. Like, you got all these young guys that have the potential to only improve and get better, that are only going to elevate their game more and are going to build that chemistry and build those relationships and really kind of, continue to come together, right? Like, can you keep Schroeder? Can you keep Troy Brown? Can you keep those guys? Yes, they haven't been the best role guys, but at the right price, they've been great. Like people forget that Dennis Schroeder is a vet minimum guy. Like people act like Dennis Schroeder's making $20 million a year sometimes. The guy has literally won games for us this year as a vet minimum guy. Troy Brown, same thing. Troy Brown has been one of our more consistent guys. He's hot and cold, but he's 23. And he wasn't supposed to be our fourth best guy. He wasn't supposed to be a starter. He was supposed to be he's the kind of guy you get as a development guy that you grow and you build and if we drafted Troy Brown this year and he played the way he's been playing all year, people will be talking about how he's the next star shooting guard. Like all of that stuff. Like Rui is still, you got so much talent, so many guys. If we can keep some of these guys for the long haul, beautiful. That's just such a nice position for the Lakers to be in. I really trust this team. I really believe in this team. I really do believe that this team can go the distance. That doesn't mean that they will. Again, there are so many factors that go into play into winning an NBA championship. Health being a big one, right? D'Lo is managing a foot injury the rest of the season. Anthony Davis, he still has a foot injury. LeBron James said himself that he may have to have surgery in the offseason. But these guys are showing up. These guys are playing. These guys are showing that they have heart. They're doing what they have to do. Everyone's beat up at this point. Everyone's hurting. Nobody cares. There's no excuses. It's, do you show up? Do you deliver? Can you win those games? Can you win those matchups? And I do. I believe this team can. I believe we have the depth. I believe we have the talent. I believe we have the stars. Anthony Davis is shown that he can be the best player on the planet on any given night. And I do expect him to be more consistent come the playoffs. LeBron James has still shown that he's LeBron James. I mean, he's had great defensive sequence. I mean, that Clippers game, he was playing great defense. He was guarding Kawhi Leonard and literally locking him up. Like, he's a guy that absolutely I expect to ball out in the playoffs and still be LeBron James in the playoffs. LeBron James still is top 5, top 10 guy. I mean, even at his age and the way he's played this year, I mean, the numbers and the stats and everything just speak for themselves. The guy's putting up literally history. He's historic. And Anthony Davis, like these, and top of that, these two have still never lost a playoff series together. Right? They would have beaten the Phoenix Suns. They were up 2-1. Phoenix Suns had absolutely no answer for Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis was killing those guys. Looked like we were going up 3-1. LeBron James is making Jay Crowder look like his son. And all of a sudden AD goes down, and that just sucked the air out of this team. Dennis Schroeder even. Dennis Schroeder was great for us that year. That's why we offered him the contract that we offered him. But then he got COVID, and he just never was the same when he got back from being sick. I don't know if it was respiratory issue or what, but he wasn't the same. Go look at Dennis Schroeder pre-COVID and look at Schroeder post-COVID. He was two different players. The Lakers were plus 15.5 that season when Schroeder, LeBron, and AD played together. Plus 15.5 points per game. They were leading the league in trios. And again, AD went down and it ruined everything. So to think that this team, which is better than that team, and I believe has more depth and talent than the 2020 team, again, a lot of factors that went into the 2020 team winning, but still, I do think that we have a real opportunity and a real shot. And I'm excited, and I really do believe that these Lakers can get the job done. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Just wanted to make a little positivity video, a little hype video, because I think, I think we need it. I'm excited, but let me know.